the March 25th, 2026 special magistrate meeting of the City of New Smyrna Beach. To start off, we'll go through the process. So when we get into the case list here, we will start with old business. We will call the case number and the address. We'll have city staff come up and prepare and present a report. Then we'll ask if anyone from the public wishes to speak on that item. After we go through that, we'll have a ruling on that item, and then we'll move through the remainder of the agenda. In a moment here, we will have our city staff, respondents, and witnesses sworn in. But before we get to that, and the backup of the items here, we have reviewed the minutes of February 25th, 2026, and I have approved those. And with that being done, we will move to the swearing of the witnesses.
Please stand and raise your right hand. In the matter to which you are about to give testimony, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? The witnesses have been sworn in.
Thank you. All right, we will start with old business. The first old business is CCSM 0504-2025, 1720 Magnolia Street.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
This case is CCSM 0504-2025. This was heard on March 25th, 2026, and at the hearing on, actually today's March 25th. Sorry, it was heard on February 25th, 2026. Special Magistrate found Tara Rando and/or entity in violation of land development regulations, sections 504.02, R2 zoning district regulations, 604.051 tree preservation, 801.06 home-based business, and section 74-146 local business tax imposed, and gave until 1 p.m. on March 18th, 2026 to bring the property into compliance. The board order was mailed, certified mail, and accepted by Tara Rando on February 28, 2026. The board order was also hand-delivered to Tara Rando on February 26, 2026 by Officer Herman Troutwine. I met with Ms. Rando a few days after she received the board order to go over the board order with her. Ms. Rando stated that she would take care of the items discussed and that the tree permit, which was the tree permit, the business license, and make the necessary adjustments for the uses not listed on her business license. On March 16th, Ms. Rando sent an email updating staff on the nail salon has moved out of her business. She is also updating the categories on her business license to add facial and facial waxing. And she included pictures in the email to show the vacant area of the home, but she's also set up an inspection for next Monday.
Okay.
So I also responded to let her know that I was still finding ads regarding the Aesthetics by Erica and Jessica's Skin Bar being advertised at 1720 Magnolia Street, and to see if they could, they are separate businesses or employees / contract employees, which even if they are contract employees, they shouldn't be advertising separate businesses because this is a home business. A tree removal permit was issued on March 2nd, 2026 for the after-the-fact tree removal. She is required to have one replacement tree, and it's at a minimum size of 9 foot tall, 2.5 caliper inches when measured 6 inches above grade. The tree permit expires on August 29th, 2026. As far as I know, the replacement tree has not been planted yet.
Okay.
She is working towards compliance. She's responded to the board order that was dated February 25th. And as I stated earlier, she has an inspection scheduled for Monday the 27th. She has been working with Kathleen to change the categories on the business license. So my recommendation to the special magistrate is to give Tara Rando and/or entity until April 8th, 2026 to complete the outstanding violations, which would be to remove the ads of the two businesses, plant the required replacement tree, pass the inspections for the updates to the business license tax receipt. And in the event that she is not found in compliance on April 8th, 2026, then my recommendation would be to impose a fine of $100 per day per violation commencing on March 18th, 2026, which was the given compliance date from the board order. I believe most of this will be taken care of by that time. She does have a representative here that would like to give us an update as well.
Perfect. All right, would anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? If you'll come forward and state your name and affiliation with the property.
Good afternoon. I'm Roberto Rubino. I'm the fiance of Tara Rando. I've been observing from the side, seeing how things are getting done. You know, we are working towards the compliances that you guys are asking for. It seems that they get more specific. You guys get a little bit more specific, like later. So us responding and trying to get the right dimensions for whatever it is, we can only move as fast as the information is being given to us, but she is working towards that. The tree removal, is that the one that was in the canal? There was something about a canal.
That was the palm tree that was removed from the front of the property. Yes, it did end up in the canal, but I have a work order in for the city to remove that because we don't want the canal, any damage done to the canal. So the city will be removing that.
And that's pretty much it. I mean, we are working towards all that. It's been cat and mouse. We passed inspections the first time, and I love that you guys serve your citizens so promptly that a couple of complaints from one neighbor can cause this entire thing to kind of take place. You know, we had to let go of a family member due to services and all this. The esthetician or whatever, they don't work there anymore. It is now just two hairstylists. The advertisements that they run for their businesses, I don't know if you understand how Google works, but every 3 months, or probably quicker now, they send crawlers out and they update information across Google according to the new information. So again, we can only move as fast as technology and information allow us. So in regards to those two items, I will say, you know, while it's her business, I mean, what if somebody across the street decided to make a hoax and do something else? So that gray area, I think we're all reasonable. There's play here. So we could provide documents on their end where they have a screenshot, whatever, right, that shows that these edits have been done, that they've been posted and in place, just in case, again, covering ground should this come back, this one thing, come back to kind of circle with us. Just wanted to see if that's a possible, I don't know, remedy.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for your comments. I will briefly say, and I do think that code enforcement staff works to narrow down everything going on so that future issues don't come up. So that's that iterative process. The burden is on the property owner for compliance. And so anything provided in terms of the need for compliance is the city saying, here's what we are seeing. There could be more. Let's work through this. I think that any evidence you can provide to code enforcement staff that they've submitted those edits, even if they're not live, is perfect for the file to show that it's not an active operating business from that facility. It sounds like you guys are on the path to compliance. We've got a few more steps here. And as long as we keep in good communication and we see those steps moving forward, we'll work with you all.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jessica, Evan, Jay, and Barbara for your time.
Okay. Does anybody else wish to speak on this item? All right. Seeing none, based on the testimony provided and the evidence in the record, we will continue this hearing until the April 22nd, 2026 meeting of the special magistrate to be held here at 214 Sam's Avenue at 2 p.m. If the property is not in compliance at that time, a fine may be imposed retroactive to the original compliance date of March 18th.
Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to our next item. It's CCSM 0556 2025 905 Canal Street.
Good afternoon. 905 has been complied.
This says 108 is withdrawn and 905 is still on the agenda.
Wrong way.
Okay.
108 is still in violation. Do you want me to read that case?
I don't know because it was noted as withdrawn on the agenda. Do we need to swap? Continue.
So 905 is in compliance?
Correct.
Okay, and 108's noted as withdrawn. When was that noted? Just now for this meeting? Never publicly noticed?
They had a notice of violation that was posted and signed for on March 12th for
Okay.
108.
Okay, did we publicly notice withdrawn on this agenda
I
anywhere?
think that the addresses are mixed up. Are you sure? Because there's an affidavit of compliance for 108.
No.
What's,
I know my
we have a new
addresses are
case,
right.
right? We have new
Pardon me?
business?
You want to jump to that one and we'll
Yes.
come back?
Yeah.
All right, we will take a pause on old business while that is sorted. New business, we have CCSM 0118-2025, 666 Dora Street.
And while that's going on, if you guys could just kind of look over your file to figure out what's going on.
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
The case is CCSM 0118-2025. The address is 666 Dora Street. This property is Zone B3 Highway Service Business. Violations cited were 26-171A, permits required, 74-146, local business tax imposed, and LDR 802.07B, trailer storage. On March the 3rd, 2025, Code Compliance received a complaint regarding the property being used for trailer storage and improvements being made without permit. On March the 26th, 2025, an inspection was conducted where I observed a fence had been erected with rocks spread on the property as well as being used as storage, and there was no BTR had been applied for. The property was found to be in violation of sections 26-171 subsection A, 74-146, and LDR 802.07B. On March the 26th, 2025, a notice of violation was posted on the property with an initial compliance date of April the 15th, 2025. A copy was also certified mailed to the property owner and was signed for and accepted on March the 28th, 2025. On January 20th, 2026, a notice of hearing was posted on the property. A copy was also certified mailed to the property owner and was signed for and accepted on January the 23rd, 2026. There have been various conversations involving the planning department, permitting, and code compliance regarding this property. The owner has removed all trailers and has not been using the property for storage business. A fence permit was obtained for the fencing. However, no permit has been issued for the rock and other improvements to the property. And the other improvements are predominantly vegetation, that type of thing. There is some rock and driveway meeting the right-of-way. Site plan has been submitted, however, is in a resubmittal status, again, after other resubmittals. It's been back and forth between the planning department and the owners. There's been several resubmittals. Due to the discontinuance usage of the property as a storage lot, there is no requirement for a BTR at this time, and LDR 802.07B is in compliance and has been. On March the 12th, 2026, a follow-up inspection showed no changes to the property or in the permit system. There are, I have the fire marshal here who can make testimony if there's needed to as far as the site plan and his involvement. I do have an email from the city engineer in reference to an update that he gave me on March the 12th, 2026, as far as the latest issues. Let me provide that to you.
Thank you.
Due to the fact that this case is a year old and it's an after the fact The rock is still there, the fence is there. There's been back and forth on the site plans and changes and revising. It's our recommendation that the special magistrate fine NSB Boat and RV Storage LLC and/or entity in violation of 26-171 subsection A and give until April the 30th, 2026 to bring the property into full compliance. If the owner does not come into compliance, it's my recommendation to impose a fine of $100 per day until the property is brought into full compliance, fine not to exceed the maximum amount of $20,000. By giving April 30th as the new compliance date and the finding of noncompliance, we believe that this will move this case to a position that, I mean, how many more resubmittals are we going to go through is the problem on this. So how long does this case need to go? I think by April 30th, we should have a firm determination, and therefore the case would be coming back in May for the imposing of a fine, if there was necessary, if it wasn't in compliance. That literally gives 2 full months and then some before it would probably come back. I think this is the fairest thing to do, especially considering it's a year-old case.
Noted.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Officer Park, 26-171A permits required. What permits are you specifically seeking required?
There's-
Because the site plan's something else, so we're not going to involve the site plan in
Right.
this.
The fact that the gravel
gravel,
stone is requiring a permit for grading and putting the stone in there.
Okay.
Also, there was a permit that was obtained for the fence. However, there is a question about the fencing and the buffer zones that are required and whether the fencing is actually in place in the right way based upon the buffer zones. There's vegetation that is supposed to be on the outside of the fencing.
The buffering. Okay.
Right, the buffering, and that would be actually into the neighboring property. And there's, at one time, there was a request that the neighbors would be responsible for the care of that buffering, and they said they were not. So, again, this is involving several different departments.
I understand that. I'm just
Domestic.
trying to give them direction
Sure.
as the permits that they need is a
Sure.
fence permit that has buffering
The-
and gravel permit for the,
Those are the two primary for what
Okay.
is remaining there, and without any future changes. Any future changes would require more permits, yes.
correct.
And I think the tie-in, to clarify for myself, the tie-in to the site plan is that gravel and grading permit cannot be issued except pursuant to an
I'm
approved
not
site plan.
I'm not the planning department. I can provide you that email that I was given by the engineering.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, the fire marshal's here and he involves with the site plan as well.
Right.
So they can give you better insight on what
Yeah.
exactly is required and
Okay.
what permits might be required for that.
Okay, understood.
Okay, perfect. We have the fire marshal. Do you have anything you would like to add? We're good? Actually,
Yeah.
I don't have any specific questions.
If you have any questions for him, he's here to answer them.
Okay.
Okay.
Or would anyone from the public wish to speak to this item? If you'll come forward and state your names and affiliation with the property.
Clinton Cornelius.
Jennifer Cornelius.
Perfect, thank you. And you're the property owners?
Yes. I have a question about the fence was permitted. It's been approved, and it was approved by the city commission. So as to my knowledge, there's nothing left to be done with the fencing. It's fully permitted by the city. It was inspected, approved, all of that. So I don't know why that one isn't considered resolved yet.
It was noted that it was not the fence specifically for the permit required, it's the gravel. That piece of
So,
it.
okay, so in order to resolve this whole thing here, all we need to do is get just a permit for the gravel, or for the shell that was put down?
That is what I am hearing. That is the active permit needed, and then when you have your site plan, you would get your BTR to operate.
Okay, okay, so I can go next door right after this and go to the permit office and apply for it there?
It depends on what you need for the backup of that permit. Yeah.
And you
I
just
say you'll
call it
need
a
drainage
shell
plans
permit?
and,
Yeah, it's possible, as the special magistrate indicated, that you may not be able to get a gravel permit unless you have approved site plan, and since you don't have the approved site plan, you can't get this gravel permit. So you kind of put the cart before the horse in this instance, where you went ahead and graded and added gravel before you had an approved site plan. And I know you all are working on that approved site plan. I know that there's a hiccup in that approved site plan that you're discussing, but it's preventing you from getting that gravel permit. And so
Right.
that's what's leaving you in violation, if that's making sense. But I'm sure they can tell you more over there.
Okay.
But it may not be as simple as I get a gravel permit and I'm good to go. Your site plan may be stopping that.
And can you provide an update on the site plan as well when you get it?
Yeah, the hiccup is we're at kind of a stalemate here. Some of the things that we're discovering are going to be cost prohibitive for us. We can't most likely afford to do some of these things. So we're at a crossroads here. We're trying to figure that out. There's a fire hydrant that we're required to put in that we're working on. And our engineer, as recent as yesterday, told us that we're going to have to get into US 1, and it could be hundreds of thousands of dollars. The property it's not appraised at hundreds of thousands of dollars. So we're working every day on this. We've been sitting on this property for a long time, making 2 years, making no money. So it's not a lack of effort here. Yes, time has gone by, but we're doing our due diligence here. We're following the steps. If you want, we didn't do any grading. We spread shell on there. That's all that was done. If that needs a permit, I'm asking you to allow us to go get the permit for the shell and let us continue the process for the other couple items. The fire hydrant is the big one for us right now. So that's what I'm asking for. I know it's cart before horse in this situation, but I'm asking for a little grace there.
So I will say I have no authority to tell you what the city rules apply as. Let me rephrase that. I have no authority to say you can keep the shell if you get a permit, if you are required to have your site plan to get that permit. That is not under my jurisdiction. It would be in permitting. It is possible that in your zoning, you can get a permit for just that shell to remain in place and finish going through the site plan. I don't
Right.
have that answer. We don't have someone here who can speak to that, but permitting would have that answer.
Permitting, so we would go to permitting. Yeah,
Correct.
I mean, because I don't know how long this process is going to take. We're still working on it. I mean, if I need to go in there and scrape it all out and move it somewhere temporarily, I'll do that. You know, we want this to move along. We're trying to do the right thing here, so.
Are you in contact with someone in planning and zoning upstairs? I know originally you went through planning and zoning and you went through the commission for a special exception. So I don't know who guided you through that process, but someone in planning may be able to work with you on that and help you through that process.
Well, that person just said to check with permitting on that.
Okay.
I keep getting mixed answers. I don't know, check with this
Okay.
person, check with this person. It's been a lot of back and forth, so.
Understood. Okay.
But we'll
I
try
think with the
going
special
over it again.
magistrate, and I'm not going to tell you what she's going to order, but it sounds like you are going to get some time, but it is going to be limited.
Yeah, so what I have before me as a recommendation that sounds reasonable for this initial step is that the property as it currently sits today is not in compliance because you don't have that permit. This is an initial meeting, you're not being fined or anything here. So we would find that the property is currently in non-compliance and give you a time frame to bring it into compliance. The recommendation for that compliance, which as you noted is just either a permit for the shell or removal of the shell in the worst case if you don't have an answer there, would be at the end of April. And you would come back here if needed, if you're not in compliance, at our May hearing date, which is, what is our May hearing date?
It's May 20. Yeah, I believe May 20th.
May 20th. You would also get a notice of reappearance, and we'll confirm that.
I'm going to go with May 27th.
Well, hopefully, we get our plan approved by then, and, you know, we have some marching orders. 'cause
And then it would be fully resolved. Yep.
Right, so that's our goal.
Okay. It is May 20th. It's in my calendar, it's May 20th.
I have it as the 27th. Someone put it wrong.
So we'll confirm that. But so that would be where I am leaning. If that gives you the time, you would have until April 30th in terms of this review to come into compliance. This board is only dealing with whether you are in compliance or not. Like I said, permitting makes the determination on what permit can be issued now and what those steps are. But the more information that you get from them that can be shared directly with code enforcement and our team as well, helps me make the decision on if you're moving through the process towards compliance.
Okay, yeah, because if we decide that we can't move forward with a fire hydrant, for example, we're gonna have to figure something out and create a new site plan with shell on there, and it's just gonna be a vacant lot, is all it would be.
So it would need a permit anyway. It's basically a vacant lot right now.
Right. Okay,
Okay.
all right.
All right,
That it?
that's
Thank
it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Based on the testimony and the evidence in the record for this case for CCSM 0118-2025 for property located at 666 Dora Street, we will find the property is currently in non-compliance relating to section 26-171A, permits required. We will find or order that the property come into compliance by April 30th, 2026, and notify the inspector of compliance. If the property is found not to be in compliance, a fine of $100 per day for outstanding violation may be imposed. And this case will be returned to the May special magistrate hearing, that is May 20th, 2026 at 2 p.m., to be heard for the imposition of a fine if necessary. Okay, and now we will go back to either 905 or 108 for clarity on what's
Do you
going
guys
on
have-
that case.
Come on up. Maybe you can help us.
So my iPad and everything else that I have shows that the case is in compliance, but nobody can get into our code enforcement files.
Okay.
So there's no way for me to do it, to pull that up to show the order of compliance.
Okay, so we are unsure as to which building received a notice of compliance at this point in time. Right. So at this
I don't
point-
have an email, I
Right,
don't
right.
have
Okay.
anything, there's not anything
Yeah.
attached in our code case.
Is there a
So
full
I-
presentation here for 905?
Yeah.
So there is a presentation.
Yeah,
Right,
it
but the-
doesn't say whether it's complied or not.
But she believes 905's been complied,
And
and,
there's not one for, I'm getting them confused
For
now.
108.
So there's not a presentation for 108 South
No,
Road?
only 905. So I was under the impression that the other address was in compliance.
so my suggestion would be to continue these to the next magistrate.
Both
Okay.
cases.
Yes. Figure out what either notice has been sent, hasn't been sent, where the compliance is, and then bring them both back. And if one's been complied, we can obviously handle it then.
Okay.
Okay.
We will tee up some orders, but I will handle those both together. So for CCSM 0556 2025 and CCSM 0566, 0556 and 0566 2025. I see the confusion. 905 Canal Street, 108 South Myrtle Avenue. Those will both be continued to the April magistrate meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry for the
No
confusion.
worries. There's a lot of 5s and 6s in that.
I say they're very close together.
They are. I can see the confusion.
Okay, with that being continued, we have no repeat business, no liens. Any staff reports or comments?
No, thank you.
All right, well then, this was a quick one. Thank you, everyone. We are adjourned at 2:30.